Hi, I'm Ellen Marie Francisco. Welcome to my channel. I was going to do a new moon reading because we are coming into a new moon, April 22nd. We have a new moon in Taurus, and I'm feeling that mostly as people digging in a little bit to their own reality. So really sinking in to first chakra acceptance. So whatever clearing out you've been doing, whatever things you've been processing, anything that's been rumbling up, you've probably been emotional. Like, think about it. You've probably been mostly alone for the most part. You're isolated in one way or another, whether you're working in this landscape or not, or if you're at home. So we've been digging into and releasing fears because the world has helped get them out of us, right? Which is like a magnetic pulling it right out of your energetic system. So as that stuff's coming up, you're being left with, okay, well, what's my new norm? What's my new baseline? What's my new baseline on how I get angry, on how I get mad at the machinations of the world and whether they work for my ideology or not. So you're looking at trying to sort out where you stand, where do you stand in all of this? So, but what I feel is like there's a possibility of polarized action going from one extreme to the other. Black Swan is popping up out of this deck. It's the Wild Unknown. I don't know if you've heard of it yourselves, but it's phenomenal. It's some really breathtaking images and Father of Cups. So isn't that interesting? Like if you've watched the last few months, this is the equivalent of the King of Cups. Here it is again, showing up as a black swan. So, wow. And with one chalice hanging above, right? So is your cup full? Is it running over? Is it emptied? What are you doing with what fills your cup? So cups 2 brings me into heart chakra and the ability. Okay, so we've done all this processing through our lower chakra. So you've been fatigued, you've needed extra sleep, you've needed extra all kinds of things that you're not getting, but you're doing the best you can. And that's another theme too for this little bit. It's like new reality. All right, how do I do the best with what I've got? So you kind of keep in small steps right now too. And I would suggest sort of lowering your expectations as far as timelines and how to like pinpointing. Don't live so much in the definition of it as you do in the resonance of how it's affecting you in the moment. And then do your mental work and sort of heartfelt pleadings to the universal God or source energy, higher power, and pull it in this way. So for me, I kind of see that people are they're being forced to go in and out of different chakras right now, where, a lot of people just live in their survival chakras for most of their lives, right? They satiate their needs, they move on, they satiate their needs, they move on, right? It's a dog-eat-dog world. So compassion is being called upon in so many ways because, we're pushed to what we feel might be an extreme. And it's really just the beginning. So the change in the body and the auric, and just check for a second to see how that's reading. I see us all going really, it's just going to be down in here, fear, dark, deep, whatever. Even if it's not fear, if you've processed your fear and you're not afraid, it would still be culminating old scenarios out of your body, reliving them across your mind space and probably through your heart as well, and airing them away. So, but I see a lot of reaching up and out, reaching up and out, reaching up and out. So it seems to be having an effect on people where they really are looking at, well, what's my calling? What's my part in this? If this is happening, then this means this. And if this means this, then do I have to do this then? And that, is that what really, like, I have to, oh, so, there's a lot of about faces too. So not only as much as polarization, but just this sort of, like, you're constantly sort of looking over your shoulder going, what did that just happen? So that's kind of how I feel it's going to be happening. So it feels like elements would be air, right? So lots of quick turning events, I guess, too. So but I'm only going a month ahead, so, you know, is it actually going to be all that quick? Not really, actually. Probably this next month, I kind of feel it just kind of being this, you know, a bit of a flat line as well, in as much as, I guess what's happening is we're taking all the stuff that we've processed, all the old memories. That's what I was trying to get at. It's like all these old memories that we thought we processed, it's like a whole other layer coming up. And I've noticed this time it seems to have more of, okay, now love it this time. Now really surrender to it. Now really accept it. Like it kind of always does, but to me it's a little bit of a deeper pull. So looking at our own truths, going, okay, this is who I am. You've got a better sense of who you are in I feel the most important ways you have the sense of who you are right now. So that's where you work from. So that's where you start from if you're not already there. And so you have these honesties, these realizations about yourself, and then you have what's going on in your heart, and you've been pulled and pushed and pulled and stretched and what and oh no, and you've gone through all of these emotional responses, and now you're going to meet, you know, your first and second and fourth through your third, and you're going to start pumping that through, and you're going to be able to figure out where like how you need to pull a little bit of here from a little bit of there and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you're just gonna, you know, you're gonna start figuring out how to work your own inner workings better, where it will be obvious that, you know, the more you can rely on your own truths, and I don't mean the ones that you've, you know, pandered yourself to believe for your life. I mean the ones that are actually God source truth, and living with those in mind. So that's what I would say. Even though there's a lot of six, mostly seventh actually chakra going on. You know, if you're going up, it's going to be at 7. It's not going to be, yeah, so I really do. I feel like people are reaching up. So yeah, they may not be, like, some people in the collective might not be totally tapped into what I would call the spiritual flow, or you know, the, you know, you source energy, where they're working with it viably and living their life and honoring it day to day. So for those kind of people that aren't quite as conscious of it, I really do get the sense that regardless, they're going to be reaching for answers, reaching for, in whatever way, being better, you know, trying to be a part of something that makes sense to them, even with the enormous shift. So I think this is sort of our reckoning period, where we reckon with, you know, what, again, like I said earlier, doing the best we can with what we've got. So okay, well, I've got this, let's work with it. That's great, I've got this, fabulous. You know, things you didn't appreciate a month ago, you're going to appreciate way more, you know? So it is a ride with the tide, go with the flow, in a really airy-fairy sense. So I wouldn't really expect you to, so you could daydream a lot and feel like it's not going to really pull in. You're probably going to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like things aren't going to quite connect anyway. It's like, oh, it sounds good, let's do that, but it doesn't come through. Or, you know, so there'll be some misfires throughout this coming month too, where it looks like, and then not. And I mean, that's more sort of in more of a, just a personal, how you live your day-to-day life. Okay, so I feel like we've all had this dormant power sitting in us, right? I've seen it in people as I read them and I look at their energy, and they're in and out of whatever they're in and out of, and themselves mostly, and as a matter of fact, I help them come back, but not always so willingly for them, but I feel like you need to be embodied. If you came here in a body, then you have to honor the fact that you have a body and embody it and play by those rules. And I think that that's a problem with some of these people that came in as spiritual warriors. I'm gonna come save the earth. Okay, well, you still have to do the work when you get here, right? Like, you still have to live it through the physical plane, and as dense as it is, and the, you know, the lower frequencies and the muck that you've got to sort through just to get to compassion is, yeah, anyway, it's like a lot of miles. Anyway, that's whatever. I guess we'll I'll move on. Just doing the best with what we've got, right? So we're definitely going to want to do things. We're definitely going to want to make things happen. But there just seems to be a little bit of a disconnect with, okay, yeah, but a lot of retraction around this time too. Almost like ping pong seesaw kind of, back to a semi-definition of polarity. But okay, so we've got Mother of Swords and Daughter of Pentacles. And, oh, these are interesting cards, too. I'll show them to you. It's lovely, right? Like, these drawings are beautiful. And Mother of Swords, which is Queen of Swords, which is also awesome for, not awesome, often I associate this with narcissism and extreme rule and matriarchy and you know, and think about this, even this rendering here with the wise owl and the cross, it's like, I would directly translate that as, it is wise to go with your own inner God right now. It is wise to tap into your version of power, source, maybe by the sword. And Four of Pentacles. So 4 is foundation, 4 is building, 4 is, you know, 4 corners in a square, and lots of squares build buildings. So yeah, and I think that that's why it's sort of like the reach, airy fairy, like, oh yeah, let's go do that, and then realize, oh, I can't quite get there yet. So then it kind of forces us back into that retraction. Well, okay, what can I do with what I have? What is tangible? What are those plans? I can do this. I can, you know, map out a business plan, because now suddenly I have to start a new business. So, but I can't quite, because whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, suddenly you've got all these different avenues that are open to you too. So, you know that Spirit's moving in ways that it's hoping you don't resist to its momentum, you know, because you have an ally with your own spiritual energy as it courses through your body day to day, you know, to use or abuse that flow. So it would make sense to me that people would be going into their 3rd chakra, because they would be sort of oiling everything up and, you know, getting the engine ready and getting, you know, getting things, you know, appropriated properly. And yeah, so It's a great card too. So the whole point from a chakra standpoint too is how we're getting forced to go into all of these different parts of our systems and not just in our first all the time. It's calling for better communication, and this is the secret for me when I'm working on people as a healer. I'm always looking to see how much coordination is there between each of the chakras and the aura, in as much as the information is able to flow properly and that it serves the whole. So, you know, sleep on your arm like this, you're going to not have blood flow. So, you know, you're going to, like, somewhere you need to tell yourself to move that down. And so, but you're checked out and asleep. So imagine what it's like for your spirit body while you're here awake and you can't figure out what it is that you need on a spiritual sense. Like, it is kind of, it can be frustrating for your spirit body to be hoping you figure it out, right? So when you're getting little messages day to day, hey, have another glass of water, or it's time for me to just take a break, or you get that little voice, like, that's where you honor spirit in the moment, day to day, where you build a foundation of servitude to your own higher power. So, I mean, when you think, this is another thing, I mean, government, who governs your body really? Spiritual, your spirit governs your body. So think about that and how much you're in flow with that government, right? And then see what's going on in your locale and see where you can draw parallels to the relationship that you have with yourself, and whether you listen to your own spirit and whether you will abide by your own spiritual laws that come basically inherently, I think, in all of us. Honestly, I really do. I think there's a basic something that we have. You have a consciousness, right? How far you want to tap into it is mostly elective, but not entirely. So spirit does expect you to, you know, we didn't get the disclaimer that told us what we were really in for when we got here. So, you know, don't buckle under the stress now just as it's getting good, because the fact is humanity is getting to know itself better than it ever has in any waking moment, probably. So, and all at the same time, which is beautiful because it is a shared experience and it is a collective. And that's what makes this whole auric thing, you know, the possibility of it to be able to change quickly and to evolve, just like the air pollution going away. So can some of the consciousness of humanness, right? So, you know, reach for the stars in that idealism for sure, because it is here and there are tons of people who live it and breathe it every day, and they've just been waiting for some company. So, you know what? Rise up, fellow citizens, and, you know, take your power in the sense that allow your spirit to speak and work with you. Work together with your spirit, you know. Do that first, then worry about what's going on at City Hall and anywhere on, you know, wherever else it's going on. So the getting on with getting on is going to be really about, you know, just tuning in, listening to what your body consciousness wants of you right now. You know, is it a go? Is it a stay? Is it a hold? Is it a move? Is it a, you know, I mean, obviously within your dwelling, but figuratively speaking, there are always options. So back to those cards I saw earlier. So the communication between the chakras is really important, because one hand does need to know what the other hand is doing, like, for the most part, right? Like, don't run your consciousness like it's a bureaucracy, okay, people? That's what I would say this month. All right? Don't do that, because you don't want to get stuck in the red tape of not listening to your own highest directives, okay? Like, there is a calling here, there is a reason all of this is happening on the planet, all right? We get the opportunity to reset. Like, how good is that? And we get the opportunity to just, well, you know, change at incredible speeds. So make the most of this opportunity and choose the light and giddy up. Let's get going, right? This is the thing. It doesn't matter that I don't have to go outside. I can just close my eyes and I can access the world. So if I need to feel like I'm at a concert, I can go like check it out and go have a concert and at least feel that I'm tapping into it in some way. So, you know, I could go through space and time and be able to tell past, present, and future, you know, in this sort of odd, you know, overview. So that and more is possible in how you connect to yourself and what you're willing to see and how you're willing to look at things and what you're willing to keep your eyes open to watch for, right? Because that's a lot of what the spiritual connection is to your higher source, to your government, is to understand that you need to connect. So communication for the nation, people, okay? So stop this month, just stop worrying about what everybody's saying. It's coming at you from every, right? Just close it down, shut it down, all right? So, like, you've kept people out of your physical space, now keep them out of your mind, and just be in acceptance with what's going on in there, unless it's detrimental to your health. And then I'd say get some mental calisthenics going on and teach yourself how to visually and sensorily be able to get to any destination of your choice and feel the emotional reality of it. Because, you know, it's all there, accessible. And you should be feeling more into your own true nature anyway. You haven't had anybody in your space. So this has been a great opportunity for you to actually know what your energy feels like. So, you know, play with it and enjoy it. And enjoy the fact that when we go back out in public, that you won't need to be, you know, I mean, you know, you can keep your distance. So I feel really hopeful for empaths because I think there's a lot of delineation going on between how, you know, it's always those boundaries, you know. You need to feel your own boundaries. All right, let's see what else is cooking in here. Gosh, I just see winds. I don't know if it's going to be windier this month or not, but I'm seeing just maybe that represents speed. Windy world. I think that's vocal too. I think this is the thing. Tons of people just have tons to say, right? So you're just gonna like, oh, what web we weave. So, like when I think of webs, I think of sticky. I think of I don't want to get caught in them. So, yeah. And then weaving, you know, this the idea of what are you sewing into the fabric of your life right now? What are you sewing into your structure energetically? You know, yeah, just truth, inner truth. We are in our inner truths. I get the sense of sort of this mirroring effect with us too. This month, almost like people are mirroring back to us things. So temperance, yep. The Three of Cups, these are beautiful, right? And temperance. So the emotions balancing again. I think of temperance as, okay, we're going with the flow here. We're like, woo, you know, that's what temperance is. And it's interesting that it's in, you know, a bird in this deck. You know, feathers, and with the air too, you know, things taking flight. So yeah, I wonder if that's just even more changes in aero, this, you know, like air travel this month too. And birds in this one as well. So Three of Cups I always think of as like a celebration card. Close circle, close knit. You know, your people. These are your people, and you want to have blessings with them. So I'm gonna go with, you know, probably by the time the full, so that would be what, 2 weeks from now ish. And then Judgment. Judgment is always that red. I always think of it as a red cross, you know, souls that are ready to cross over that aren't quite there yet, or people who are thinking about it, right, freaking out that they might be crossing over. So still seeing a little bit of that, you know, panic then 2 weeks. But I still feel like, you know, we're kind of yeah, I kind of get the sense that they're going to be, just getting all these little quick little vignettes. So I do get the sense that there'll be a lot of distress amongst, like, you know, just like the coronavirus broke out in little, you know, everywhere. So will the discourse with whatever, like, it's going to be all kinds of things. It's just going to be, I mean, overall theme is, you know, freedom, rah, rah, rah. Yeah, unfortunately, I guess, you know, that's where a lot of the opportunity for learning more about compassion is going to come from, because, you know, it's like hearts are bleeding here and it's hard to watch. And I think that's what I meant a little moment ago with the sort of mirroring effect, is that we all are going through it, like it is, you know, we're just mirroring it in different languages in different places of the world, but it's affecting, you know, us all one way or another. So I'm going to liken this to what I mentioned earlier about the collective auric possibilities, just like you individually have your own auric possibilities because of what energy is flowing around you and moving and creating information, you know, insights and things like that. You know, moving you into balance, moving you out of balance accordingly. So all right, so let me see how I'm put this into words. It's the best case scenario is that you listen to all parts of yourself and you integrate the information, so you get this whole life experience rather than, you know, just, you know, having shallow relationships that are first chakra based, or only, you know, having open-hearted relationships where you get bashed all the time no matter what, you know, you're just gonna keep it open, babies, you know. So, or, you know, you're gonna, whatever you're gonna do to yourself, right? So you need to bring it all in so that you make the best use of the information coming through you. So so it's happening in the collective in as much as countries are in as much as almost like the countries themselves are these sort of chakric energetic points, and they're all connecting in these ways, right? Through the world in these sort of like tsunami like flows of energy. And it's so, yeah, like, this is the thing. We may weep, but the tears we shed will be to bring more alignment. Like, I promise you, it's like, might not look that at first, but that's the point, you know. As much as Like, there are always going to be forces that try to stop alignment and real connection to yourself, because the truest connection to yourself is your exalted self. It's your most empowered part of your being. So, you know, you being willing to work in it, in its magnitude, can, I mean, you know, good. You'll live, you know, you'll live the closest version of your exalted self as you can when you do. And you have way more possibilities in the way that you get there often, right? And it might not seem all that conscious, but for the people who can kind of slide through life, you know, and still manage to do well under extraordinary circumstances and come out shining regardless of how much they've been roughed up, you know, speaks to the resilience of the, you know, like, spirit is resilient. You know, it's the epitome of resilience. Spirit's a driving force. Spirit, you know, sometimes spirit doesn't even care what your physical limits are too, right? Like, that can be, especially when you're going through healing cycles where you're processing ancestral healing, or you're, you know, healing resurfacing traumas, or, you know, past life fears from death pictures, you know, things that you've, gnarly deaths that you've had. So, you know, all that kind of stuff hits your consciousness in one way or another, day to day, over days and months, and all vice versa. So that's why, like, sometimes you just feel so tired you can't even move, and you're like, oh my god, I got more sleep than I ever had, and I'm more tired than I've ever been. You know, that's when spirit's working on you. Just so you know, you're like, when you wake up feeling heavier and like you're not quite in your body, you've probably been gone, and you know, you're trying to, you know, your body's waking up, and you're like, oh my god, it's waking up, get back there, you know, and you've been out all night living La Vida Loca in all these different planes of existence, and, you know, coming home with stories you can't remember. So, yeah, so play around with that a little bit this month. Get out of your mind in a way that allows you to, you know, really go to where you were on vacation, then travel in your mind. Pack your suit. Like, honestly, I was in jail once. Okay, I don't want to go into it right now, but those of you who might know me, you know, I can tell you, I worked on making sure that my energetic body was built on the other side of that jail cell so that it would know how to get me, right? Like, oh, my energy body's out there, let's get the physical body to join it, right? Tell me it didn't work. I'm in the free world. So, yeah, it's the truth. Energy is where it's at, people. I can't wait for science to, you know, like, confirm what I've been seeing for years. It'd be great, you know, because there's a ton of possibility, and it's an extraordinary opportunity to, and because here's what's going on collectively too, right? Think about this. The entire world is going, what the fuck do we do next? Okay? So there is some beauty in not knowing what to do next. It's called the boogie in the void. It's where you have to kind of suspend action because, well, not everybody will, but let's hope they do. Suspend some action so that you can tune into the real purpose and the real, like, hey, spirit, give me the go. I'm ready, you know, like waiting for instructions. Yeah, so like I said earlier, giddy up in a lot of other ways. Yeah, so great opportunities. Great opportunities. So boogie in the void a little bit. Don't worry about what the finished product is. Don't worry about what the final destination is. And you know, easy for me to say if you don't have a job and whatever, but you know, I mean, just allow just boogie in the void. Just, you know, like that, the space between the beat, the space between the note, right? That's a really big space. And in it lies many, many secrets. There'll be plenty of time for action. So the whole world's wondering what to do, right? So all of our higher consciousnesses, all of our guides, all of our spirits, all of our everybody, all of everything else that we are beyond just this, or as well as this. That's the coalition of forces. So, like, there's enough that want the change for good, the sensible, why didn't I think of that? Like, obvious change, right? So I really do think that we're going to get there, you know. I think I'm projecting a little bit further than just this month, however. So, but definitely speaking from an overview here. Yeah, so Boogie in the Void. Don't worry about the math that doesn't add up. You know, I mean, it doesn't add up for sure, but just stop letting go, like start letting go, keep off letting. Like, just don't hang on to anything that doesn't make sense, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Like, just don't take it on. Just let it roll off. It's like, so if you've been alone, you kind of get an idea of what your space feels like now, right? Because not everybody's invading it all the time. So work a little bit on the aura so that you can see if you can find some of your own secrets, you know, see if you can find some of the densities in your own space around you, by the way. Like, this would be a great time to do that, because we're sort of working with, I think, third chakra anyway. Like, what is my power? Hello, power. Where is my power? What's the power? Who's the power? Why the power? When the power? You know? So find your power and cultivate your gifts. For sure you came with some, you know, everybody has something. I've seen it in everybody. Every time I read, it's just inherent to what we came here to do, and it's kind of entrenched with what the purpose was for our incarnation. So, Father of Pentacles. Isn't that interesting? Father of Pentacles. So, patriarchy and Two of Swords. See, in some ways with the Mother of Swords earlier and the Father of Pentacles, I feel also like that's a strong matriarchy card, and this is a very strong patriarchy card. And who, you know, patriarchs, who holds the wallet, right? So I think women are liberating from men financially. So whatever that means is going to be individual, I think, to them. I think that's one of those sort of, you know, wow, it's a possible wave that's going to move through people. And because people are assessing relationships anyway at this time, right? Like, either this was the time already, for sure. If you're in a relationship that you feel you shouldn't be in, you should have already gotten out of it, right? So it's just going to get harder, you know, if you're not doing something about it a lot of times, right? Or like, life will do for us what we can't do for ourselves. So some of us who couldn't get used to the idea that we needed to get to know ourselves, and we needed to take time for ourselves and learn how to be alone and be alone and be alone and be alone and be okay with that, then, you know, this is ideal for them. This is perfect. This is life doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. That's a kind of a little example of it. So I do think that, you know, all the stuff that isn't working basically in the relationships that you have, and the themed events that recur in your relationships, like, you know, some of us are like, some people, they always cheat on me, or whatever, or I always cheat on them, or whatever the, you know, thing is, whatever you have, your identifiers. But I just got the wind right through my ears again. I don't know what to tell you. Oh gosh. So the patriarchy and the, yeah, so the relationships, like this is, to me, I feel like it's a definitive moment in, you know, this is part of why authenticity and your own truth, like you have to be living in your truth. So figure out what it is, what your bottom line is. If you could say it out loud to everybody and nobody would bother worrying about it because they would be fine with it because they're doing the same for themselves. Well, they would expect you to do that, right? So maybe things will move you in ways that you wouldn't have expected to, in directions. That's why it's really good to be okay with the boogie and the void, because you know, it's better for you to wait. You're in a more like attraction state. You're able to attract things better that way. And because you're not running around going after something that you can't figure out what it is that you need really exactly, but so you're going to just run around and go do something. So like you can't be that compulsive right now. Actually, you know, so forces you to kind of think a little bit better about it and have a plan. That's what the sense of anyway. So April showers bring me flowers. April showers bring me flowers. It's been raining a lot here and it's snowing. So 6 of Cups. I see root, right? We got roots above and below. How much more goes on below the surface that you can't see? This is another thing too, right? So Taurus, we got a new moon in Taurus, and think about it. It's got this whole okay, so if we have less of our goo, all the stuff that holds us back, all the stuff that scares us, all the stuff that like, gives us anxiety, if we have a little less of that because we've been processing some of it, then you actually can connect to the earth better because there's less in the way for you to do that. So it would be a good time to, you know, get out and see what your relationship is to the earth. You know, like you can still go outside and you can still find a patch of grass somewhere or whatever it is that can be a, you know, replica, and connect to the earth and see what it's telling you too, right? Like there's a message here. Just like you could ask yourself what your body needs, you know, your body will tell you what it needs. So will the earth tell it, obviously. So, and where you need to connect in. So earth is healing too in a lot of ways, obviously, which is just phenomenal. And, yeah, I just keep getting wind, and the storms. Like, I think that there's, you know, like, I don't know enough about, yeah, I don't quite get it, but so windy can be with words too, right? Like you can let words fly without even thinking about it. Like if there's a storm brewing in your soul, honey child, that's a storm. So yeah, you're gonna have to, okay, so here's, yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, so people, yeah, okay, so reaction, reactive, right? Revisiting reactive. So that's what I think this month is going to be challenging for. It's that there will be old things coming up in your own personal life, and you're like, oh man, I thought that dog died. You know, like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, I thought we were done with that, you know? God. So it's like the revisitation. The recapitulation is a real thing too. So that would be, I guess, my best advice is if you were going to go into this with the right attitude, I would say be willing to boogie in the void, lower your expectations. I'm sorry to say, like, oh my God. And sorry, I have to laugh because it's like, oh gosh, there's so much potential here, and there really is. There are so many peacekeepers. There are more peacekeepers, okay, people? So, like, it is a numbers game, and it doesn't look like it really doesn't look like, maybe it doesn't look like it to you, but I'm going to ask you not to worry because it's, yeah, I mean, we've got to go through it, right? It's easier. Yeah, so best advice, and I would recapitulate. Like, if you're not journaling, I'm always a proponent for journaling because if for nothing else, it helps get out of you the stuff that you might not really be willing to let go of, but you can get it out on a piece of paper and it's tangible, and there's an energetic transference, and I see it all the time when I'm sort of looking at things with those eyes. So it really does work. Like, that's why I'm saying back to if you need to get out, just go in your mind and go on vacation and call in the senses, go through sense by sense. What does it feel like? What do you see? What do you hear? What did you taste? All that kind of stuff. Where is that? That's a great exercise in allowing you to, just move. Like, that's kind of how I view even, the psychic plane. It's like, you get up into it, it's like, that's the information highway. So that's another thing. Like, gosh, everybody's worried about technology and everything, and it's like our true super consciousness is so much better than technology in being able to go to all these places at once in a split second. I mean, you can really, that is really possible, and there are many who could do it in one way or another. So, like, practice things like that, and that is another thing too. As things change and things are unreliable, and we don't know really who to trust, why to trust, what is this, what is that. The fact is, spirit is all knowing, and spirit doesn't lie to you. So the more connected you are to your own spirit and what it wants from you and how it's working, trying to in tandem work with you and create your life for you, and meet your, kind of spiritual obligations and your promises and contracts before you came here. Yeah, it's just part of the next step process. It's one foot in front of the other kind of thing. So you do have, so just, work with your own truths, start there, build the world outward from there. Sounds simple in theory, but it's not big sweeping things I'm asking you to do. It's just more like little steps. It's the itty bitty bitty ones. It's like following that little intuition, Oh, grab my raincoat. Didn't check the rain thing, and then it rains when you're out. Like, whatever, you know, little things like that, where you know how to take care of yourself if you'll just listen. And then once you're listening, you can really get in the right direction and get turned in the right direction, because, you know, ultimately spirit won't abandon your purpose. So, like, ever. So get tied into your purpose, and that's working in tandem. And if you can't see what your purpose is, then live purposefully in allowing yourself to be open to hearing and connecting. Because when it's quiet and you're not around a lot of people, you really can hear a lot. And that boogie in the void, if you're quiet enough, it's there. You can, it really is. You can hear it. It will speak to you. It will speak to you clearly. It will give you enough information to work from. And then you can trust, is it time to move? Is it time to run? Is it time to hide? Is it time to whatever, you know, whatever you're doing out there or in there. So, all right, let's see. Two of Swords kind of popped out there. So that in some ways is balanced too. That Two of Swords to me too. It's like skillful. In the traditional decks, it's blindfolded. So it is kind of going in. What are you cutting out? What are you, you know, cutting off? What are you, you know, carving out? How are you carving? What is your new world carving out to be? So, and because life is so much what you make of it, it's good to carve a good picture. Make a good one. So awesome. We have Four of Cups. Still get that there's like secrets, you know, almost like, taking that literally. Who's the rat? So there might be some of that going on in the other world, like, who's the rat? What's coming to light too? There's a lot, I think there's a lot coming to light. So that could be you and your body just going, that's it, I'm out. I'm in the light. You know, that could be the reach to the light. Spirit, show me the way. It could be, you know, shining the light into your darker recesses, coming to light. Oh, good. Oh, now my, you know, fears are out. Now I don't have to be afraid anymore. Like, at some point, like, you can use up all the fear that you ever need to have, and then you don't have to fear it anymore, right? Like, it's called serenity. And once you get there, you don't really fear anything, because like, enough of you is all knowing that you're willing to just roll with it. You know, you just breathe. It's kind of this weird default thing. So, so maybe, you know, play with your breath a little bit too. That would be a good way to, you know, like, sing instead of complain at people. That would be a good way to sort of use this wind energy too, right? Like, ooh, like, if you have things to say and you can cut things through and you can be acerbic, and like, this would be the month that be careful with your tongue, and you know, the government would like you to keep your tongue to yourself, people. So so watch what you say. You know, watch what's coming out of those lips. So find a different way. So if it's beginning to, like, so that's another thing. Small steps. Release things that are bothering you in small steps. Don't let them build. So if it bugs you, go deal with it. What are you going to do? Read a book? You're going to feel better? You're going to sing a song? What are you going to do? Like, do a jigsaw? Whatever it is that you need to do to feel better. you know, and to get it out of you, whatever, off your chest, things like that. Join a 12-step group. There's 20, you know, million of them on Zoom right now. And, you know, go deal with some of your dark side people in an anonymous way. Like, that would be a great thing to do, because then, you know, you don't have to trip yourself up over the guilt of somebody knowing all your secrets. So, you know, like, there's really healthy ways to get stuff out of your system that don't involve just, you know, lashing it out with people because you know, because you don't know and you're angry. So, yeah. 10 of Wands. See, this is fine, you know. I mean, it's fine. It's... See, when I'm doing readings, I'm like speaking from spirit perspective, and I'm like, fine. What do you mean, fine? Like, there's hell to pay down here, baby. You know, but it doesn't have to be so. So be industrious and work with, you know, resources available to you. Be sensible. Like, you know, don't live in denial. This is kind of the, you know, piercing through the denial acceptance part. So this is where you can kind of plan your next moves and recalibrate what you know, if there's life strategies that you need to implement here. So, yeah. And then here comes Mother of Pentacles. So I'm going to leave us with that. Like, what a great card. So the meaning, so we've had the father and the mother. This is a balance of female energies. Like, again, this is reforming the consciousness, the sort of auric reality, the auric truth of how we deal with male and female relationships. So look at the female relationship within yourself and your male relationship. How are you nurturing? How are you strict? How are you unyielding? How are you powering through rather than feeling your way through? You know, those kinds of things. So that would be a good thing to work with in your dynamics as well. So am I powering through, or am I a peaceful warrior, and am I affecting change in my world? How, you know, strategize. It's a good time to strategize. That's great. So I hope you're all fabulous. 7 of Swords. Yeah, so that's an interesting card too. So the peaceful warrior works with impeccability and knows when to rest, and knows when to plot, and knows when to plan, and knows when to lay down the swords and slumber. So, you know what I mean? Rest, my lovelies. Be good to yourself, nurture yourself as far as you can. Keep it simple, and yeah, I hope you have a great month. We'll see you soon. Isn't that great? Like, I just opened the deck randomly and she came up again. So there you go. Mother yourself, my darlings, and Mother Earth. Happy Earth Day. See you next time. Be good for now.